Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 110 of the Character Unlock podcast. With me today is my excellent friend, who I've missed greatly, Brooker. How you doing?
I'm alright, thank you, mate. I've missed you too.
Thank you. And as always, is the other guy, John. How you doing?
I've missed you too, buddy.
Right, so, I mean, how you guys been? It's been a couple of weeks.
We've had a new year and everything.
It's all been going on.
We have had a fucking new year.
It's our first podcast, officially, I suppose, of 2021, even though the last one came out on 1st of January.
Yeah.
Did everyone have a great New Year's Eve? You go out and party, going to town?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely. I was outside and everything, and there was partying going on, neon lights.
We as we have done pretty much every year since we had a child, we've gone, she'll go to bed early and then we'll just watch a couple of films. The problem was this year she didn't go to bed early, so we're like, okay, well we'll just, because she wanted to watch a couple of weeks ago, she asked us we could start watching The Big Bang Theory again, so we've started yet another fucking binge of The Big Bang Theory, and we're like, we'll just watch a couple of episodes of Big Bang till she falls asleep, and then she can get to bed and we'll watch a film. I got a Tenet delivered New Year's Eve. I was like, that's like 2.5 hours. That'll kill most of the night. We'll watch Tenet. It's not a bad film. Next thing I know, it's 5 to midnight. We're still watching Big Bang Theory. Nikita's still up. Fuck. So yeah, my New Year's Eve was spent watching pretty much an entire season of The Big Bang Theory. How fucking rock and roll am I?
Ways, I suppose.
There could be. I don't mind. I know a lot of people don't like it. It gets a lot of shit. I quite like The Big Bang Theory.
I think I've probably maybe watched like 12 episodes of Big Bang Theory total. So, don't really have an opinion, because none of them were like consecutive episodes either. So, not really able to put an opinion forwards.
I mean, at this point for us, it's one of those shows we've watched it so much it just goes on in the background. Like, we get home from work and TV goes on, and if there's nothing on, like, if she wants to watch Big Bang Theory, we'll watch that. At the moment, she spends a couple of nights in a week, like in the evenings, playing Animal Crossing. So we're watching Suits or catching up with Suits. But yeah, it's just one of those shows on Netflix you can just have on, and you don't really have to pay attention to it. So I quite regularly fall asleep on the sofa while it's on.
Yeah. Big Bang Theory has just become Friends, hasn't it? Where it's just always on E4.
I don't know. I don't watch stuff on Channel 4.
Well, you're lucky, because I generally just watch PJ Masks. So you win.
Well, we had that for about 6 months. That was the obsession, and thankfully, I think even she realised she was growing out of it pretty quick, because she's at that age where like Nick Jr. and that's a bit too young, but yeah. Nick's a bit old, so she just watches our shit.
Fair play.
And Scooby-Doo.
That Nickelodeon's got a lot of shit on it.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes I can try and persuade him, and he quite likes Teen Titans. Which I can manage.
Yeah.
But oh my god, I swear he listens to the fucking soundtrack on Alexa about twice a day. And it's linked to my Spotify as well. And last year, my Spotify 2020 results was my top listened to album, and songs were all Teen Titans fucking soundtrack songs. This year, it's an absolute guarantee the top 10 are going to be the whole album. He has done every day since New Year, easy.
So I've got Amazon Music Unlimited.
Right.
Because I get it cheap because I'm a Prime member, and it's for the Echoes. Basically, it's because I found it of all the streaming services, I found that works the best for me through the Echoes. When I just tell it to play Slipknot, I get a good range of Slipknot songs, not the same 4 songs over and over and over again, which I have found with Spotify and Apple Music on.
Apple Music through Alexa is not great.
Right, and that sucks. So of course we have that, and it means that she's got an Alexa in her room, and she listens to Disney music at night. But I also use it at work, so it means that when I boot up my laptop at work and I wake up the Amazon Music app, It's like recently played like Slipknot, Motionless in White, Ice Nine Kills, Disney music. And I'm like, fuck. Why is the last song I played Bare Necessities? It's not.
Well, at least you get that. It's Moana soundtrack or the fucking Teen Titans soundtrack. That is it.
Yeah,
kid.
Well, she just plays the radio station. You just play Disney music, and you'll get a radio station just constant every Disney song.
Oh right, nightmare.
So it's a mix of like Moana and Elton John, and I'm like, oh no, please. And I'm like, no, go away. Don't look at my screen until I played some music. I don't want you thinking that the last song I listened to was A Whole New World. Go away.
Oh, there you go.
How about you guys? You have a good New Year?
Yeah. Honestly, I can't remember.
I don't even remember it. It's been 2 weeks, man.
Fair enough. Maybe I remember.
I think I had a Zoom call with some friends quite late. It wasn't planned. I think someone just said, "Oh, are we having a call?" But I can't remember now. I'm sure we did.
I mean, I was on call for New Year, so I couldn't even fucking drink. I was gutted. Not that I really drink anyway, but I was like, even I like a pint of, New Year's.
Oh.
No,
I think I was just on my Xbox playing something. I don't even know what it was. Seriously, just straight up, just absolutely can't remember it at all.
Wow.
I don't even think it was Cyberpunk at the time.
No, probably not. Can't remember.
Oh.
You'd have to look back through your game played things.
Maybe.
You can find out on True Achievements normally, can't you? What games you've been playing where. Tracks quite well, providing you've got achievements on them.
That's the thing, is that if I don't even know if I got an achievement on New Year's Eve / day to be able to work out what it was that I was probably, to be honest, I was probably playing Crusader Kings, if anything.
That got quite a few votes in the Game of the Year, didn't it? Surprisingly enough.
Yeah,
I know it got in whatever the Steam awards that you can vote through Steam. It got a lot of votes for best game I don't know how to play.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Makes perfect sense. Well, so let's move on to the news. The news.
When I eventually get around to like redoing our artwork and our music and that, because it has to happen at some point. It's been 4 years. It needs to change up. I'm just going to get you to just make noises for our jingle.
Okay. I can think of something. Well, news-wise, not a lot.
It's New Year. Nothing fucking happens.
Yeah, nothing happens. So there's been a couple of announcements we should probably talk about because they do have potential for hilarity and laughs, I guess, and disappointment also because Ubisoft's involved in one of them. So, I mean, first things first, Bethesda put out a tweet with a short 30-second video cutscene, GIF, whatever, on it, which at the end of which started looking like an Uncharted looking kind of thing where you were looking down at a book and a watch and sort of a torch and all that sort of stuff. And then at the end of the video, there was a whip. And then in a second repost, they confirmed that they were working on an Indiana Jones games with Machine Games, which is one of their studios, who made Wolfenstein, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Well, the Nazi making games guys are making a Nazi game again. So it could be fucking brilliant, especially if it ends up being like a weird neo-Nazi Indiana Jones. That'd be fucking insane. But, any Indiana Jones game should be better than the fourth Indiana Jones film. Should,
yeah. or the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, which is pretty fucking terrible.
That's true. Wasn't there a point-and-click Indiana Jones game at some point that I remember? I can't remember what console it was on now.
God,
I remember a point-and-click one.
There was a Lego Indiana Jones game.
That was apparently the best Indiana Jones game.
Well, that's probably true.
So the Lego Indiana Jones game,
the side-scrolling one on the Mega Drive.
Yeah, I remember that.
Part of me feels like there might have been like a Telltale Indiana Jones game at some point attempted or in the works before they stopped being a thing. Because they pretty sure they had licenses to make like hundreds of different fucking games. They just were so perma-crunched that they couldn't actually get around to making anything.
There has been absolutely
There's loads.
Loads. Since Atari 2600, mate, was the first one. Holy crap sticks.
Well, I suppose when you've got the license to do whatever you want, then... Especially, like, old times when there was no real original ideas for making games.
Indiana Jones.
Whoever bought that one,
and
the first one, they're still loading it now.
The Fate of Atlantis was the point-and-click one. Came out in 92.
That's what I'm thinking of. Mental, that's...
But the thing is...
Do you know what? You get that whole thing where you feel like 1992 wasn't really that long ago.
I think
it was.
I think I've said this...
But it really was.
Yeah, it was. I think I've said this on the podcast before. I work with a couple of people that make me constantly feel old and realise just how old I am. Just because...
You work with people who weren't alive in 92.
I do, but this is kind of what I'm saying. Like I make references to films that I think aren't that old, and it turns out actually they're 30 years old. That people are calling them classic and retro, and I'm like, no, they're still new. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck off.
My only problem with the Indiana, I think it'll be interesting, especially because Lucasfilm at the same time kind of announced Lucasfilm Games. Is there a reason they can't call it LucasArts, do you think? Does somebody else already own LucasArts?
I believe LucasArts...
Did Disney buy LucasArts?
Yeah, Disney owned LucasArts. Just because it was part of the buying Star Wars thing.
Yeah. So Lucas have now come out with Lucasfilm Games. And this is one of a couple of announcements. But as a more or less recent convert to the series, we already have Indiana Jones games in the form of Uncharted.
Yes,
they're quippy, they're sexist, they're womanizing, they're stupid adventure games. They're Indiana Jones games, man.
Yeah, but you kind of... When are the Uncharted games set, time-wise?
Present day, more or less.
That's kind of the thing, is that Indiana Jones is, what, 1930s to 1950s?
But I suppose unless you're going to actually have him fighting Nazis all the time, you know, the aesthetic isn't going to change that much. He's Indiana Jones. He climbs around in tombs. It's literally the point is they're timeless at that point. Outside of, you know, the occasional car and plane, all the tombs are already 1,000 years old. Same as all the ones in Uncharted. I'm not saying I don't want it to happen. I was like, is there room for an Indiana Jones game in a world that already has 5 Uncharted games? 2 of them readily playable on every current PlayStation system.
Yes.
Wouldn't you fucking love it if it came out with a female protagonist, though, and Indy was just a background character? Oh, I fucking would love that shit.
It'd be brilliant. It would be amazing.
There are more women probably called Indy than there are men called Indy right now.
That is probably true. There was rumour, I've seen a rumour, I don't know how much credence it had to it, but that the Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to have a female protagonist. So that'd be funny too.
Oh, God. People will lose their fucking minds.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be brilliant.
Well, it can be less sexist in that case if there's a female protagonist. Or it can be doubly sexist due to the fact that there's the fact that everyone can just treat the main character as a sex symbol.
Yeah, like walking down the street and people are just wolf whistling at you and stuff.
Just 100% of the time, it's just wolf whistling.
Yeah.
If you really want it, every person that wolf whistles at you can walk up to and punch them in the face.
Yeah, well,
so
it's
it's
isn't it?
The feminist's wet dream. Just like constantly, you see a builder, punch him in the mouth. You see a random Italian mafia man, and you punch him in the mouth.
Yeah, why not?
Everyone who's ever wronged you, you can now punch them in the mouth.
Oh, wow, I'd have a long list of Well, no, probably just
No,
a list of people I want to punch in the mouth, not
Yeah.
necessarily wronged me.
I think I'd be on everybody else's list.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it personally.
I mean,
I'm not
my
a huge fan
negativity
of it.
aside, I will play it, and I love Indiana Jones. It's actual legitimate wholesome adventure fun. Bring that shit on, man. I love it.
Fingers
Oh
crossed.
yeah, it's good. It should, in theory, be absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. See, I'm not a big fan of indie, and I can take it or leave it, but I do like Tomb Raider and I do like Uncharted. So fingers crossed for me also of something along those lines.
And the Wolfenstein guys make pretty good linear games.
Yeah.
So provided it stays as a linear game and doesn't end up being, for some reason, some kind of stupid open world Indiana Jones game.
No, it's going to be a live service Indiana Jones game.
New whip
Guaranteed.
cosmetics.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you pay an extra £15, you get to be Indiana Jones. Otherwise, you have to be Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue into the second piece of news we can talk about, because a typical studio publisher rather that likes to use those sort of amazing tactics to screw you out of money is that Ubisoft I've announced, or it's been announced, that Ubisoft are in the works of making a new Star Wars game.
I love this. Is my favourite bit of news ever, because so many people hate that Star Wars is made more or less exclusively by EA. They go, fucking take it away from EA, they're rubbish. Okay, we'll give it to Ubisoft then.
Yeah.
And then,
well,
just Assassin's Creed Star Wars now.
Yeah, pretty much guaranteed. It's Assassin's Watchdog.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Star Wars
chest
You're gonna have to climb up things, probably using the Force, and take a look at your surroundings, probably while you're crossing your legs and meditating.
Yeah.
then you've just got to go on random missions helping people do loads of fetch quests, even though you're a Jedi or something similar.
That is an example. Fallen Order is probably closer to Assassin's Creed than it is most other games in the EA have put out, especially recently.
I got very strong Uncharted meets Dark Souls meets Star Wars vibes from
it was more
Fallen
of an
Order.
action game than an open world RPG shitty thing.
But it's kind of open world, but you were stuck inside.
Yeah,
Literally,
it was like
you were very limited in what you could do.
It was like God of War kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you didn't just have masses of things to do, but a lot big enough to make you feel like you were somewhere important.
But the enemies was nice and sparse and spaced out quite nicely instead of just being constantly fucking surrounded. So that was probably the best part about it.
So I mean, I don't know what to think about that. I can take or leave Ubisoft games. I'm not over.
This is where it's going to be Star Wars version of what's it called? The Crew.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, I do
Wars
like
Steep.
Star Wars. I'm not overly fussed about the cinematic universe so much, but I like the premise, and I do generally like a lot of the games that I've played previously. I just like sci-fi generally, so it falls in that category, as you can imagine.
I am not a huge fan of the films anymore, apart from the Star Wars Stories films. So I actually thought that Rogue One and Solo were better than most of the actual films they've put out, especially in the last 20 years. Wow, probably even 30 years. I can't even remember when Phantom Menace was.
97?
Something like that, yeah. Okay, so in the last 25 years...
Was it Jar Jar Binks that spurned you, was it?
No,
It's been 10 years, Tim! Let it go!
I didn't even think that Jar Jar Binks was that bad a character in comparison to what could have been. But in reality, as far as Star Wars fans go, I've got nothing against any of the films. I actually watched the third one earlier today because I was bored and decided to put something on through Disney Plus and was just like, yeah, that'll fucking do.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Good way to eat up about 2 hours.
I didn't mind Rise of Skywalker? Is that the last one?
I want to say yes.
Okay. I've only seen it once. It was the last film I saw in 2019 at the cinema. I didn't hate it, but I didn't hate any of the sequel trilogy. They were right.
Yeah. I don't think I've hated any of the Star Wars films. I'm just kind of annoyed by some of what it is.
I admit to really liking The Last Jedi, which I know everybody fucking hates, which I find hilarious.
It's probably because that one's the least Star Wars film that you've probably watched out of the Star Wars films.
Oh no, Solo is the least Star Wars film out of all the Star Wars films I've watched, and I mean that in the way that actually it's not a Star Wars film; it's a hypnosis tape to help you sleep.
Yeah,
I fell asleep in the cinema watching Solo. I was so fucking bored.
I've not seen it because I just felt like I thought it was going to be boring.
Yeah. It's kind of the number of people I heard complaining on their way out of the cinema after watching Solo was brilliant because they couldn't quite grasp that in order to watch a tie-in Star Wars film, they'd have to keep up with a lot of the other tie-in content, like the Clone Wars, like Rebels, like all of the other stuff that has been put out in the last 20 years that weren't the main films.
See, you say that.
To understand what the fuck was going on.
I kind of know what you're talking about there, and I'm like, it didn't faze me one little bit.
No,
when it happened, I just went, oh, cool, and moved on.
Still alive. Interesting.
But,
yeah, literally. Unless if you're going to watch a tie-in film, at least put in and complain about it. Put in the effort and watch the rest of the tie-in stuff because you're going to miss out on so much crap.
Yeah.
Like, especially with the Mandalorian at the moment, where it's just like, if you've not watched any of the cartoon stuff, there's characters in that you're going to have no idea who the fuck they are. But if you've watched the cartoons in any way, because the Rebels and Clone Wars weren't even aimed for children, despite being on Cartoon Network, they are definitely, the themes they have in them are definitely more adult than what most kids could watch.
Yeah, well, you keep telling yourself that, brother.
Fine.
But I can watch Mandalorian without having watched all the cartoon stuff, can't I?
Of course you can.
Because I will commit myself at some point to watch the 16 episodes of The Mandalorian. I will not commit myself to watching the 2016 animated episodes that are on Disney Plus. It's not fucking happening.
There is a lot of episodes of Clone Wars.
I am aware.
Yeah, I think I watched a few of the Clone Wars, but I just, they just got so sporadic on when they were on, and there was no on-demand feature at the time. That I never got back to
all 7 seasons of the Clone Wars on.
Yeah, maybe, but I'd have to find the time to do that, and I watch things with my child, and if, like you say, they're not for children and they're for adults, then I can't show my child, can I? So, yeah, excuse committed.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
So that's the news.
So yeah,
Unless
does that
there's
mean
anything
we're all up for a UB Star Wars game? We don't care about a UB
think
Star Wars
so.
game?
I think
I will
I'd play
absolutely
it.
watch a Ubisoft Star Wars game.
I will probably play it. I will wait until it comes out. I mean, let's be absolutely honest. If they've only just announced it, it's 3 years away anyway.
It's 2023 minimum.
Unless they're building it straight out of the Ubisoft current engines, then we're looking at two to three. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah.
I certainly don't expect to see anything on it for a while.
Nah.
Yeah, that's a 2023 game. 2022 at a push. Or current climate, it's going to be like a 2025 game. With its 15 years worth of pushbacks. Maths.
Good maths. Okay, so I guess that's the news.
Yeah, I'm just having a browse, see if there's anything else worth talking about. I don't think there is.
Yeah, I couldn't see anything.
No, I don't think so.
Nothing sparks my memory anyway.
Oh, Killzone official website has been retired. Fuck you.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to talk about that because I didn't want to put a downer on your day.
That really upset you. Actually, to be honest, it didn't just upset you. When I saw you post that out, I was like, oh, I mean, I only played 2 and 3, but still, they were fun games, and they definitely deserved more than just a quiet.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we're not making them anymore by shutting our website down
I mean,
instead of
if
saying.
you're going to be honest, if you're going to kind of forget the biases and actually just look at it objectively, Killzone 2's peak, well, Killzone 2 is where Killzone peaked. 3 was fun, but a bit naff. Mercenary was a Vita game, and Shadowfall plunged hard when it came out, man. No one except me liked that game.
I really wanted to play Shadowfall, but I didn't have a PlayStation long enough to play it.
It's
I
a shame.
didn't dislike it. I just don't remember finishing it. I think I did.
I really enjoyed it, but I'm the dick that has platinumed every Killzone game that had a platinum, including the PS3 remaster of Killzone 1, which was kind of shit. But such is the way.
I mean, every franchise needs to end at some point, but it needs to end on like something. It can't just be we're not making it anymore. We're going to turn off our website instead of actually doing something. Or because Shadowfall is not an ending. I mean,
No,
I get
it's
it.
not.
They've moved on themselves onto new games, and quite rightly so. There's going to be a lot of money going into that game franchise.
Yeah,
'cause it's
this is
making more than Killzone ever would.
yeah.
But
That's the thing. It's because Guerrilla have moved on to Horizon, and that I'm 100% okay with that because Horizon is fucking excellent, and more of that I will absolutely take. Sometimes you just want a nice shooter, and you want something that isn't Call of Duty, and I don't like Halo. So,
it's a good thing that Killzone's not on the Xbox then.
Yeah.
To be fair, they didn't need to make Shadowfall. I think they probably made Shadowfall because they had nothing else in the works. They were making a shooter and they needed something for
Well,
PlayStation 4.
Shadowfall played as a tech demo for the PS4, the way it was built and the way it played. But yeah, I mean,
Killzone 3 was a good ending to the fucking franchise.
them closing down a website is not particularly news. It just made me a bit sad. That was all.
Yeah, as it should. That's probably it's your favorite fucking shooter franchise, even though they've only made
5
games. I was gonna say 6. I don't know why.
I think there's 7 actually in reality, because there was a PSP one, which was a top-down thing of Liberation, I think it was called.
Thought that was Assassin's Creed.
I mean, you're not wrong. There is an Assassin's Creed Liberation. I was sure there was a Killzone. There is a Killzone Liberation on PSP. Fuck you, dude. I'm looking at it now. Killzone, and apparently IGN gave it 9 out of 10. It wasn't a 9 out of 10 game.
No.
I mean, IGN are very liberal with their 9 out of 10 sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, objectively, it probably was a 9 out of 10 PSP game. There probably weren't that many better PSP games out there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, no PSP game deserved more than a 6.
No, true enough. Anyways, yeah, it's not worth a website closing down isn't really worth talking about. So sorry, we can move on. I was just looking through a news site to see if there's anything else worth talking about. Apparently, there's not.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, so the final segment then, what we've been playing. I've not got a jingle for this one.
Oh, we need to work on that.
Yeah, didn't think
that's
I
your
even thought
homework
of the
for the
first
next
jingle.
episode.
Yeah, must
Yeah.
try harder. So, I mean, I've got a fair few because of the current Microsoft Xbox Achievement Challenge thing for free cash. So I've got a fair few small games on my list and a couple of big ones that have finished during the interim of the last month or so since we've had what we've been playing.
Did we want to? Cause we're going to talk about our January challenge game.
Yeah, we could do that too. That's part of
it's either we talk about it now or we talk about it on the next episode.
Well, I mean, what I'm thinking is if we've all finished
that's my
it,
hosting, I think.
Yes, the next one you'll host. So I don't mind if you want to talk about the next one.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, if John's hosting, it was John's game, so that's a good shout.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll do that then. Well, in that case,
January.
I've got like 3 games to talk about. So whichever.
Plus, I mean, the January challenge game's still active, so again, it's still installed to my console. So if at any point anyone wants to play some of the Battlefront multiplayer, I almost said Battlefield.
Well, it is Battlefield
then,
with lasers.
Yeah, if they want to play some laser tag multiplayer, then I'm always down.
I would not be against that. I'd just probably need to reinstall it.
I think I'd need to reinstall it too. It's not that I dislike the game. I never see myself playing the multiplayer. If I'm absolutely honest.
It's a lot better now than it was when it first launched. I'll give it that much. But at the same time, it's also a lot worse because, as per normal, whenever there's a game that's 8 years old, can't be.
That's not 8 years old. No way.
4 years old. I think it was 2016.
That's bad math.
Yeah.
That's why I said 4 afterwards.
4 years.
Yeah, there's only people been playing it permanently on it now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all. We'll talk about that next episode then. That's fine.
Yeah. So John, do you want to go first?
Okay, so I've been playing one of my top 3 games of the year for the last 2 weeks. I meant last year's game.
I was going to say,
it's Cyberpunk.
We're only 2 weeks into the year. Every game you have played so far should be in your top 3.
My top 3 game of the year from 2020, I've still been playing it well into 2021 because it came out late in 2020, and that is Cyberpunk 2077. I finished a playthrough, although I think the problem being that there was a big gap between me starting the first playthrough and me, well, actually continuing it after going into somewhere into Act 2, was because I was away for Christmas. I ended up not really liking the character that I had and that I was working on. That being that from it, I wasn't enjoying playing with her, what was going on, a lot of the decisions I was making, just in general, everything about it was not as fun as it could have been. So I ended up smashing through the story as quickly as, well, possible. Not even possible. I did a lot of the extra side quests, but I wasn't really focusing or really paying much attention, which is probably the bad thing. But I have started a second character, different pre-story and prologue to the game. I'm being a male character this time, and a lot of the hints and foreshadowing, and just not just that, but also a lot of the just like in general, the stuff that you bump into and work out that early on in the game to stuff that you see later on is kind of fun and kind of cool. So was certainly enjoying myself on that. And I'm only I haven't even started the first mission of Act 2, and I've already got my character up to about 6 levels shy of how I ended my previous save, because I've been putting a lot of time into just doing everything, trying to keep the map clear of missions, which is surprisingly fucking difficult.
You won't.
Because it's there's a lot of eye rape when it comes to the map. There's a whole lot of shit.
Ubisoft levels of things to do, or
higher. I'm going.
I think
more than
I've learned to sort of curb my want to clear maps now because there's just too much going on in those sandbox games.
I find it burns me out doing that.
It's not so much an issue of there being a lot on the map because there's only so many vendors and whatnot, but there is a lot of, and it doesn't help that they use the same icon for side quests, main quests, undiscovered quests, and vehicles to purchase.
That seems weird.
It's the same yellow icon, essentially, that you go around. I mean, the main quests ones are at least, it's a filled out yellow hexagon, but all of the other ones end up they're either a yellow hexagon with a question mark for undiscovered, or a yellow hexagon with a exclamation mark in it for you know what it is because you've been over there. Luckily, some of the other things like some of the gear quests, like the thievery stuff, have a slightly different yellow icon. But there's also the blue icons, which are police scanner quests, which usually end up just being go into this area and just kill everything, and then pick up an item to do all the police scanner stuff. But there is an achievement tied into completing all of the yellow things and completing all of the blue things in each area. So it's there is a lot to do to complete and 100% the game. I'm not going to 100% the game, but there is a fucking lot to do for it.
How's it going to be with my colour blindness? This game, I imagine it's going to be a pain in my arse.
There are colorblind modes right from the start. The game was launched with colorblind modes.
Okay, that's not too bad then.
3 of them, the 3 main ones that I normally see on games. I don't know what they fucking are. I've not enabled any of them to see what because unfortunately, just like a lot of games recently, when they say we've got colorblind modes, we don't actually tell you or show you what the colors look like until you back out of the menu to see what it is. So it's kind of half irritating. That it's like, right. Oh, you've enabled this colorblind mode.
I can tell you pretty much what they are. So try remote. I don't know. It begins with try anyway. That's red, green. So they changed the red and green colours in the game. And then there is try.
That's what I want to know.
And then there's I don't know, but there's Tritanopia, which is blue to yellow, and then there's the other one, which is D, begins with D. Can't remember the last. But whereas they changed quite a lot of the colours, so none of them are similar. So they change. So like things like. So light greens and yellows are changed so that they're not close together. Or generally, it only affects like your items and stuff like that is what they change because they don't want you confusing like low-level items with higher-level stuff. That's the stuff that they change the most of, and like waypoints and things like that.
Yeah, so I've not enabled any of the colorblind modes to really know what the colors are because, like I said, it doesn't. Unlike, say, Destiny, that is when you flick through, it shows you what the icons are change color to, as I think when they make the exotics go brown or pink as options.
Pink.
Yeah, I think it doesn't until you back out fully out of the settings menu. It doesn't show you what it is, but at some point. This year, we're supposed to be getting the update to Series X and PlayStation 5 versions of the game. I will have probably finished it at least twice by then, so it's going to be interesting to see whether or not I'm willing to go back. I mean, I'm probably going to go back to The Witcher at some point because that's going to get a smart delivery this year. Is it?
Yep. Yeah, they've CDPR have said it will be getting an upgrade on PS5 and Xbox One, Xbox Series X.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they've. I think rather than an actual like upgrade, I think they're just planning on properly optimizing it.
Right.
It's already graphically 4K, but it's not particularly optimized. So I don't think it doesn't run full frames to what it could do. Okay. I played. Cyberpunk in frame rate mode the other day, but I kind of already had a headache, and it made my headache much worse. So I quickly disabled it and put it back into graphics mode. So I had the lower frames until. So I will probably put it back into frame rate mode just to check on whether or not it does play or seem much better. So I'm hoping it's going to be pretty when it goes to get the next gen updates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, considering it already has a frame rate mode, which does have really good frame rates. So I don't really know how it's what we're going to get out of it, other than maybe getting the full 120 at 1440, but don't really know what more they can do because I think the frame rate, to be fair, was at 60 max. So, but that was probably not so much built into the game. It was just the console forcing it. So that's probably why it looked a little bit iffy. But otherwise, I've also played for exactly 39 minutes Subnautica, because that's how long it took for me to get the 1000 Gs on it.
Did it take you that long?
Yep.
Have you played it as well?
You used the console commands, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I played it ages ago, but yeah, I know what he's talking about.
Can either of you tell me anything about the story to Subnautica?
Yes.
It's basically...
Yeah. You are a humanoid character yourself that has crash landed onto essentially a water planet, and you are then trying to escape said planet, but you can't without finding enough like special items. Like
you have to rebuild all of your rocket and everything again.
Yeah.
It turns out there's been your race and other races there before. And they've all been building shit and fucking shit up, basically. So you just kind of go through getting a story of what's happened before as well.
Very specifically, been very much fucking shit up because it's one of the main mother species. Because I decided to start actually listening in rather than just like following the next commands to do. Openly says that are you here to play or are you here to like snuff us out like the previous people were? And it's like proper like try to cage in the mother species, preventing her children from flying, as she says.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
wasn't a bad game. I wouldn't have wanted to play it all the way through. No. I think it'd have just been another it's basically No Man's Sky underwater.
Yes, and it does definitely have you need to be playing this with friends. Similarly to how Astroneer was when I was playing it, it's 100% better when you're playing with someone, because even though it's the story isn't entirely there, but you can just like swim and explore, mess around, build stuff to an extent on an alien planet with other people also there. There's also enemies that try and eat you while you're doing stuff. And it has both a free mode, which is what I played in because that's how you get the console commands, and there's a survival mode, which is like the kind of the default mode. So it works out. I'm probably not really doing the game justice because I was specifically playing it just to get those 1,000 reward points, as opposed to anything else. So it's a game that's probably not for everyone. If you're after an easy 1000 G and you haven't done it yet, it's an easy 1000 G. At the same time, if you're playing with other people and that's the kind of game that you're into, absolutely probably worth your go if you haven't already played it. Same with quite a lot of other games.
No, that's fair enough. I keep seeing it it's on Game Pass, isn't it? I keep seeing it on the Game Pass. I fancy that, and I remember some people talking about it and thinking I could get into that, but I've just never bothered installing it because who's got the fucking time? But I actually I want to play it. I don't care about the gamer score.
I mean, if you're doing it in 39 minutes to get 1000 G, probably well, not even probably 100% not the right way to do it. That game has definitely got a good couple of hours worth of playtime in it if that's what you want, and if you've got the people to do it with, because there is at least one submarine that you'd build that actually openly says kind of requires 3 people to do this, to pilot this. So it is targeted for maybe we should play with more people than just myself. Again, same with Astroneer. The game is half targeted towards you probably should be playing with more than just yourself. Finally,
play with me. Always playing with myself.
That's all I do.
Well, you should probably speak to your wives about that.
What?
I tried.
You don't like gaming. Or me.
Finally, this afternoon, had downloaded again Battlefield 4 because I really want to play a good modern shooter, and went on to Battlefield 4, and that game has not aged well at all.
No, it's not.
I mean, Battlefield 4 is essentially an Xbox 360 game that was upscaled to the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So, yeah, next plan is to play Battlefield 4 on PC, as it's I own it on PC as well, and apparently it's much better on that. It was quite funny though to flick on and going onto the server browser on European servers. There was 49 that were active, and only 10 of them actually had more than 10 people in them.
Fair enough.
And of those, they were only Conquest Large.
Yeah, of course.
Rush had 3 servers total.
Yeah.
And there was only like 6 people on them. So, what was the most infuriating part was that most of the servers that were alive were only 2 maps, 24/7 type. So, and after playing those maps, they were the thing is they're default Battlefield 4 maps rather than any of the DLC ones.
Yeah.
Because everyone just wants to do that. But there was no maps that had Operation Metro on, which is kind of annoying. Metro's a good map, and I miss it.
I used to like Metro back in the day.
Metro 24/7 on 500% tickets. That's what the.
I'm torn nowadays because I didn't really get on with Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 5. They're great games, just they're not my cup of tea. I prefer modern shooters. Bad Company and Battlefield 4. These were games that I really got into, and I'd really like another one. But at the same time, I go, I am not going to be putting any kind of mileage into an online Battlefield game at this precise point in my life. It's just not going to happen. Whereas, like, my counters for all of the previous Battlefield games ticked over in the hundreds of hours easily, because that was just what I would play. But now I'd play the 2.5 hour campaign that they build and then probably never touch the multiplayer outside of its first 2XP weekend.
So the good news is that DICE are supposedly working on Battlefield 6, which is supposed to be a modern shooter.
And I'll definitely give it a go. But
I don't know whether it's actually going to be Battlefield 6 or if it's going to be something else, because they have done some other Battlefield games which are... Well, Hardline was amazing. No one liked it.
I enjoyed Hardline.
Hardline had probably one of the best campaigns I've played in, well, almost any shooter. But nobody cares about campaigns, especially when they're playing Battlefield games.
I go back far too far, mate. I'll take a 2142 campaign, thank you very much.
I'd love a fucking futuristic shooter from Battlefield again.
Well, you did. You got Titanfall is what you got. Let's be honest. Titanfall is Battlefield 2042.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, small scale shooter, so it's It was Battle Card of the future. So yeah, that's me done. That's all of the games I've played.
Excellent. Brooks?
I don't think I've played anything that I haven't spoken about at length already, over and over and over again.
Okay, well that makes sense. So why don't you tell us what you've been playing those games for again?
So I finished off my Hitman 2 run. And by finished off, I mean I've unlocked every challenge it's possible for me to unlock without me snapping my controller in frustration. There are a few I haven't got, but I'm not going to bother with those. I've 100%ed all the trophies for it, which was frankly a grind by the end of it. I was getting a bit annoyed at some of it, but my OCD was taking over and I couldn't leave it at like 97%. Yeah, I just played a lot of Hitman 2. In preparation for Hitman 3, which is this time next week. I can't fucking wait. Then I booted up Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yay!
And I finished my platinum run on Horizon Zero Dawn, and then so I tidied it up. I tidied up all my trophies again because I was so close to having it done, and for some reason just hadn't finished it. So I did, and then started a baby mode campaign just so I can remind myself of the story ready for later on this year. That game is fucking gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
it is legitimately gorgeous. And actually, maybe it's just me and my old tired eyes, but I flicked a couple of times between performance mode and resolution mode. Couldn't see the difference because I was playing it on the PS5. It looked gorgeous either way. All the rendering was still there. Looked lovely. Load times were about the same though. Didn't notice that. I don't notice that it's any quicker to load, I'll be honest. But it's not a deal breaker. Game's still fun. And it is fun. It's even more fun on story mode. It's so easy. Yeah.
I loved my story mode playthrough last year or a year before. I can't remember. It was fucking brilliant.
It's a proper baby mode. It's so good. Nothing is beating me, and I'm putting no effort in. I'm just enjoying the game and enjoying the story, and that's pretty much all I wanted. I just
went through the whole story with the catapult. That's all I used. And you don't need to plan anything out or do anything. You don't need to use your tear blaster or tie anything up. You just fucking blow everything up with explosive, and you're done. One hit done.
I've got a crazy leveled up, very rare bow that's got tear blast on it, and that just cuts through everything. That's all I'm using. The occasional trip caster just for a bit of a laugh, if I want to make something chase me and fall over. Nothing big or special, but I'm just literally I'm playing it to sit and play the story and remind myself of the story before Forbidden West comes out, because it is a pretty complex story. But yeah, I've been playing that. I'm not very far in. I think I'm heading towards the second big city, so I'm about a quarter of the way through the story. I think I'm not very far at all. And finally, I finished. And when I say I finished, I 100%ed because I went back through it and played it again and got all the collectibles and that. The Shady Part of Me, which I spoke about briefly back into last year, which is just a little platform puzzler. Looks like Limbo, plays like Contrast. Got a hint of Little Nightmares to it, and yeah, it's just. I think I finished it.
What console's that on?
Well, I played it on the Switch, but I'm pretty sure it is available on everything. But the thing is, it's the kind of game that I can just sit and play while I'm watching football. So while I was watching Wildcard Weekend Saturday Sunday, I cleaned it up and finished it off, because it only took me 4 hours for a playthrough, so about 2 hours a night before my hands start hurting on the tiny little Switch. But it's really good, and I genuinely think it'd be kind of up your street, Lee. I think you'd enjoy it. It's not scary, I promise. It's very melancholic is the best word I've got to describe it. It's a little depressing. It's quite emotionally charged. It's just melancholic, but it's a beautiful game. It doesn't outstay its welcome. Puzzles are pretty easy. There's nothing that challenging about it. I've got all my collectibles. So some of them have add little bits to the dialogue and that, which is interesting. That's me. That's my last couple of weeks. I've been playing nothing new or special. Now, next episode, I would have been playing nothing but Hitman 3, probably. Which is
cool.
Nice.
Unless you have some sort of major save fail where it deletes all of your history and stuff, a la Doom.
Well, to be fair, I'll still play the game. I just won't play it with any of my unlocks. So I'll just play it bare, which to be fair, it must be built to be played like that as well, so it wouldn't be that big a deal. It would just be really fucking annoying. Much like when Doom took my fucking save away from me. But that's me, lads. Yeah. I haven't played much. Sorry, I've been doing other stuff.
That's acceptable. I mean, we can't always play loads of games all the time.
I don't know, man. I've seen Lee's what I've been playing list.
That's because Lee has currently been obsessed with a challenge of trying to get 10,000 reward points for whatever reason that he needs those reward points.
Money.
I'm currently sitting on 72,000 because I can't work out what it is that I want.
I always just buy ultimate my month's ultimate. Or 3 months.
I was going to say the 3 months one works out cheaper.
Yeah, of course it does. I generally save up for the 3. Depends how I'm feeling.
Yeah, but I'm all done, lads. If you want to carry on.
Okay. So, well, I mean, I'll do the big ones and then I'll just scroll through the little ones because although I played some of them, I didn't play all of them properly. So I had started Uncharted Legacy last time, but we didn't talk about it. I have since finished it, and honestly, I thought it was the best Uncharted game in the series.
Did I say that when I played it? I can't remember.
Not sure.
Probably.
I do love it.
I much preferred the character interaction. I much preferred the setup between the two, between Chloe and Nadine.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love Nathan Drake and I think he's great, and the comedy that he brings is different and funny. But these two I particularly liked.
Oh no, I love Chloe. Like legitimately love Chloe. I love her attitude. She's just great, and her quips are brilliant. Her sense of humour is awesome.
Agreed. So I thoroughly enjoyed that, and then I went back through on a quick playthrough as well on Crushing and finished it on Crushing as well, just for shits and giggles. Although I will say it is the easiest of all of the Uncharted games to get on Crushing.
Fair enough. I platinumed 1 and 2 on the PS3. I've got no desire to do that again on any of them.
It's a piece of piss on this one because you can use the cheats. Doesn't disable your trophies, so you've got unlimited ammo with the silenced pistol.
Yeah,
and then you just turn on aim lock, and literally you get your pistol out and it locks on the heads instantly.
Nice.
One hit kill everything in Crushing. I just literally I powered through it. I don't think I even died in Crushing. Well, no, it was a couple of random ones, but only because I got caught off guard.
Yeah.
Didn't fall off the map then.
Oh, I always fall off the map. It's my favourite thing to do.
My main death method so far is death to falling.
Yeah, it's my favourite way to die. And then I moved on to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which starts very slowly.
Yeah.
And it continues very slowly. Not to say that I'm not enjoying it, because I do like it, and I do like Dragon Ball Z and the original storylines. I don't know much about the whole newest, Super and all that, GT and all that sort of stuff, but I do like Z. Z was great.
The good news is that you can disregard GT because it doesn't exist.
No, it does exist. It's just not canon.
That's one and the same.
Yeah, but then all the movies and stuff don't exist either, do they? This is what I don't like about that guff.
No, the movies don't exist apart from the three most recent ones, and that's because they've been made canon by Super. Because okay. Super has two of the last three have been part of the Super seasons. They've just redone
I don't care that
films.
much. I'll never watch them anyway, I'll be honest. I'm not going to go back to watching the cartoons or anything.
I don't understand a single thing either of you two have just said, so...
The three latest films are all on Netflix as far as I'm aware, so have at it.
Still not going to. Still not going to, brother. But, I do like Z, and I do like the original stuff. It's what I grew up watching, firm favourite. It's a bit of nostalgia there. The game does drag that out a lot. It doesn't need to be this RPG thing. It doesn't need to stretch out the amount of time in between doing different scenes. I like that they've put in all the additional scenes, stuff that you wouldn't normally come, because normally in the games you just get the big set pieces in most of the Dragon Ball games that have come in the past. This has actually got the little interactions between characters during that story as well. And I like that. What I don't like is having to collect fucking balls for hours on end just to upgrade my... it's basically like playing fucking Crackdown, but not as good. That's the worst thing about it. Just collecting balls and beating up dinosaurs and shooting shit just over and over and over just so that I can level up. That gets on my tits because it feels like it's just dragged out for I don't even know why, because it's a single player game. Why have they dragged it out so much? But other than that, yeah, it's all right. I've not finished it. I'm into the. Oh, which saga am I into?
Are you on Namek yet?
Yeah, no, I'm going
No.
to Namek. So
Okay.
I'm going to the Freezer saga, obviously, but I'm not there yet. But I'm on my way there. So yeah, so plenty of that game left, I imagine.
Yes, definitely
Where
so.
does it go to? I
However,
mean, I'm pretty sure it finishes the Boo saga, right?
yes, it finishes the Boo saga. It goes right up until the. Well, actually, no, it does include. I think it actually includes Resurrection F now. Pretty sure that they've added on that part because I know that they had Battle of the Gods was added on, but
Right.
with there being
And
no
is that
extra
DLC
achievements,
though?
yeah, yes, they are the DLCs.
Well, I won't be playing them if they're DLC because I don't expect that I'll want to carry on.
No, because you don't the DLCs don't have any extra achievements.
Well, that doesn't make any difference. I mean, I'll just be bored shitless of it by then, I imagine, of just collecting orbs.
Like
for
I
days.
said, that it starts off with you can't collect orbs fast enough to what you upgrade. But much later, well, I say much later on, once you finish Namek and you get into the Cell Saga, it does become I don't really need orbs anymore, and I'm finding them faster than I can use them.
Yeah, okay.
Especially if you
Well, we'll
start
see.
especially when you're doing some of the side quests that kind of just like gift you stuff. Plus, a lot of the upgrades make it so that it's like orbs are worth more, as well as that you have a larger collection radius and other things like that.
Well, I fucking hope that comes along soon before I get bored.
But
So
how do you
that's my
like
two
the
big
playing as
games.
different characters thing? Because
I don't mind.
it being called Kakarot, it was quite fun to see the not just playing as well Kakarot.
They just couldn't think of a name. But let's be honest, the main guy in every storyline is him, isn't it?
Yep.
And the stories only tell the interactions based on what he's doing, you know. So it kind of makes sense. Yeah. And then the little Xbox challenge came along, and it's a 2-week or 3-week challenge to get 10,000 achievement points in that time scale, and should you get those, they would exchange it for Microsoft points, rewards points, which I do collect. And 10,000, I think we spoke before because there was one similar last year, but 10,000 equates to almost a month free of Game Pass Ultimate. So it's always an excuse to get through a load of little games that generally I normally just leave for things like this that I've had on my radar. All but one of these I've wanted to play before. The one that I wasn't overly fussed about actually turned out it wasn't that bad. But we'll go through said list. First one I played was a suggestion from Mr. Brooker, and it was a game called The Suicide of Rachel Foster.
Fucking blinder of a game.
Yeah, so I knew that he liked it, obviously because of his passion about it, and I knew that there was a potential for my Xbox to be bricked.
No, be fair, I did say previously that I'd reinstalled it on my Series X and it ran perfectly fine.
Yeah, I know, it was absolutely fine. I had absolutely no trouble with it whatsoever. And the achievements all popped for me too, which was a bonus because that was a benefit for while I was there.
My achievements never popped, even when I reinstalled it.
I did enjoy it. I did. I don't do games like that very often. It was a notch above the level of creepy and dark that I would normally make an effort with.
I don't, as a rule, go for games that revolve around like the grooming of underage girls. It's not really my thing.
It's pretty fucking messed up.
It was messed up. It was dark. It was horrible. I loved that game.
I enjoyed it more when I took my headset off and just listened to it through the TV. Because the fucking creepy ass floorboards and walking on metal noises and bouncing around, and they were all in stereo on the headset, gave me the fucking creeps.
Did you jump when the door closed behind you in the fridge?
No, I didn't. But I tell you, when I fucking did jump, and it really got me, I about pissed myself because I needed a wee at the time, was when you wake up in the church.
Yeah.
And then and then it happens in the church. You know, you probably remember it vaguely. That bit fucking got me because I just weren't expecting it. I was kind of when I walked into the freezer, I was fully expecting to get stuck in there. So I kind of seen that one coming. But yeah, enjoyed it, and luckily I don't have to play it again.
And I promise I wouldn't suggest any other horror games after that, so I shan't.
Well, you know, I'm not averse to trying it, and I like things that challenge me, and it was a challenge for me to get through it. Not because I didn't enjoy it, just because it just fucking made me feel on edge. And
but
generally, I steer clear of that.
But I think
it was nice. It was a nice change.
I've said this. I don't know if I've said it here before, but as a rule, horror things I don't recommend to people that aren't horror people, because horror is not something that you can just necessarily share, because it might really badly affect you and you won't know it. You know, yeah. I don't do, you know, some of my favourite films in the world are some of the most horrendous films ever, the most horrendous things ever put to film. I would never suggest you or John watch them, because you won't enjoy them and they will quite possibly fuck you up. You know, so I just wouldn't do it. Yeah, but there are times when I go, like the Suicide of Rachel Foster, I was like, it was really good, and your average person, I think, can fight through the creepiness of it to enjoy the story.
Yeah.
Which is why I suggested it.
Say enjoy the story.
Well, experience the story.
It's pretty fucking morbid. Experience, yeah, that's a better way of putting it. Definitely. So then I just moved through a few small games. I played a game called Little Acre, which is a point and click. I've seen it a while ago, thought it looked quite funny. It turned out I actually really enjoyed that. It was good. It was relatively short. I'm talking sort of 2 or 3 hours. None of the puzzles were particularly difficult to figure out. There was a couple that caught me off guard, but it wasn't that I couldn't figure them out. You know, it was relatively obvious what he had to do for the most part.
Yeah.
And that starts off basically you're a guy. Your old man's gone missing. Something's gone fucked up. He's got some weird machinery in his shed, basically, and you get zapped into this other fucking dimension. And then your daughter, who's a little fucking tearaway, basically running around with a fake helmet on and a sword. She comes after you basically to try and find you because she figured out you've gone in the machine. She goes into the machine, and basically you end up in another dimension with both characters, and you have to get back out, so on and so forth. So that's the general story for that. I really enjoyed it, that one, so that was good. It's on Game Pass, so if anyone's so inclined as a point and click, that's a good one to play. These are all easy 1000Gs as well, by the way. All the ones that are left on my list. Then I played a game called Corgan, which is a free game, not a Game Pass game. It's an actual free game.
Isn't he the bad guy from Highlander?
Yeah, probably. It's not related to that though. I don't think. It's a very basic dungeon crawler. Where you have a warrior who's a dwarf, a mage who basically looks like one of the water characters out of the Zelda universe, and a huntress.
A Zora?
Zora, yeah, that's it. And a huntress who's just a woman with big tits and a hat on and a crossbow. Basically, Van Helsing, female. And you can play the opening 2 or 3 levels of the game for free before you have to purchase DLC to continue story.
Nice.
And the 1000 G is all collectible during that 3. During the free part of the game. So that's why I played that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely different, but it's also very the same at the same time. It's a different kind of setup. You had to use your 3 characters individually. You could switch between them on the fly. So the mage could freeze things, and the hunters had the ability to fire 3 cross bolts at the same time. So you could freeze things and then switch out and just walk right up to something and blast the fuck out of it. So it was interesting changes there, but it did just feel sort of the same as every other dungeon crawler, essentially, with the added bonus that it was free. But it wasn't a bad little game. I mean, there's not much to say about it story-wise because you don't get any. That's the whole point. You just get, you're here, do this. The story's now in the DLC if you want it. So there's not really much else to talk about on that one. Then I played Day of the Tentacle, which is a the remastered game. I think it's the 3rd one in the series. It's a point-and-click adventure. It's fucking batshit insane. I forgot how annoying they were, so I did use a text guide for quite a lot of this because it's just an utterly bizarre set of puzzles that you have to go through with things like chattering teeth and fucking scalpels and just totally weird shit. And you've got 3 characters, you both in 3 different time zones in the same building, but you have the ability to send items that you've collected in your time zone to characters in the other time zone, and that's how you solve puzzles. And you need to get everyone back in the same time zone, essentially. So that is just fucking crazy difficult. But yeah, it was all right. Like I said, I ran a text guide. It was just as it is. If people like point and click, that's a good one to go with.
That's the LucasArts one, isn't it?
It is a LucasArts one, yeah. Back when they used to make.
You're not the first person that I've heard play the Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle's amazing.
And you're not even the second because someone else was playing it, and I can't even remember who the fuck it was, and it was some time ago as well.
But the original Day of the Tentacle is older than you.
Yeah, definitely older than John.
Well, you're my age, aren't you? So it's not older than you. It came out in '94.
No, oh god, no.
It's not older than me then. Fuck off.
Well, sometimes it feels like it is, John. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I don't expect they'll ever make any more. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If they do, I'll probably play another one. Then I moved on to Full Throttle Remastered.
The almost granddaddy of LucasArts.
Yeah, and that was a really good point and click game set in a dystopian universe where there's only one business left in the world that makes motorbikes, and you play a guy who is the leader of a motorbike gang. And then all shit breaks loose and you have to go on a fucking hunt for a killer and all sorts of shit. I enjoyed that. There was a few bits in it that really quite got on my tits.
Did you ever play the original?
Because of the age of the game. No, I didn't know.
Yeah, it was like that back in the day as well. And that was the thing with the old LucasArts point and click though, wasn't it? Sometimes they were just so bastard hard. Did you ever play Grim Fandango?
I couldn't get through the first few bits. I just really didn't click with me at all. There's
an insane part of Grim Fandango. It's about halfway through. You have to break a ship that you're on in half, and there's no way you're supposed to know that you can do that. And the way you have to do it is completely fucking bizarre. You like lob an anchor out of a window and catch it on your scythe, and you're like, what the how the fuck am I supposed to know to do this? I remember I played it again, and this must have been like 97 or 98 or something. It came out. I was like, "There's no way I'm figuring this shit out." Yeah, absolute bonkers. how people come up with this shit. Oh, you have to take this mouse that you found 3 hours ago and rub it against this wall, and then a door will open behind you. No, no. Yeah,
A lot of the puzzles in Day of the Tentacle were like that.
yeah.
Just utterly bizarre, confusing. Just didn't even make any logical sense.
What was the other one that was like? Oh, Broken Sword used to be like that as well. Fucking hell. I mean, I love them, and I hold so much nostalgia for them, but I know full well when I pick up Full Throttle Remastered, it's going to drive me up the fucking wall.
Yeah, it was good. I didn't find it that difficult, to be fair. I think it took me 2 hours. I think the text guides and things I've seen said that you can do it in an hour. I'm guessing that's if you've been given all the answers.
Yeah.
All I just read and see what the missable achievements were before I started and made sure I picked them up on the way. There wasn't many, about 3, I think.
Fair enough. It's on my list to play. I spotted it on Game Pass a little while ago, and I think I texted you guys. Went, oh look, Full Throttle Remastered, and then just never got around to it. So it will go. It's on the list. I will get to it because I really want to play it.
Cool. Then I played. These aren't in actual calendar order. Sea of Solitude, which I've had my eye on for a while because I really like the look of the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
It's a action platformer, third-person action platformer. Not so much action in it, technically, but that's how you would describe it. And that's by EA.
Yeah.
So that's on the EA Access on Games Unlimited. I really enjoyed it. That one, I thought the story was great, although it threw me off a little bit because I presumed that I was just dealing with this woman's personal mental health problems.
Yeah.
But it seemed that I wasn't. I was actually dealing with hers and her families and their boyfriends all at the same time, and how she interacts with all of those characters also.
Oh, Jesus.
But it was good, and I really enjoyed it. The game got a lot of flack for the audio and the narration, but that is because they just didn't. I think it was because most of them said that we couldn't click. It didn't work. But that's the narrator's German.
Yeah.
And so she's got quite a strong German accent and speaks English very well, but it's Germanized. So it's there's quite a lot of there that doesn't translate. Well, it does translate obviously, but it doesn't have the same gravitas, I guess. But yeah, I would think you would enjoy that game and the story.
Yeah, I remember it being announced at an EA thing, and I remember looking at it going, because it was like a quiet trailer. Oh yeah, well also there's Sea of Solitude, and then nothing. I was like, well, that looks really good. When can I play it? And then it just kind of vanished. And then again recently, I spotted it on Game Pass. I was like, wait, what? Or EA Play or whatever it is. I was like, when did that fucking appear? And that actually did get installed onto the Xbox because I really want to play. I've really been looking forward to that one because I know it's going to be right up my street.
I think you'd like it. I think it's. I mean, it's definitely it's not dark per se, but it is a little bit morbid. But it is a good story all round, generally. So I did enjoy that, and I did. I mean, there's no more playthrough in it for me, but yeah, certainly enjoyed it.
I don't mind these kind of one and done playthroughs of games.
Yeah, I do too. I think it was 5 hours, 6 hours tops. It wasn't much. I did it in one evening and a start of a second evening. So
that's how I ended up like 2 years ago, just playing all of these walking simulators because they were more or less really good stories in one go. I didn't have to keep playing them. I didn't have to keep going back. I didn't have to backtrack to find more story. The experience was told to me as I played, and I played it once for 3 hours and then be done. And that's when you've got no fucking time to play games. That's perfect.
Definitely. Holy crap! What else have I played? I'm almost positive that there was a couple more on my list.
If only you had a list.
If only I had a list that was full. The games have not just forgotten a few. I played the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis Classics.
Wow.
At the weekend with the little one because he just wanted to play a load of games with me. So I played a load of those, and I went through a load of those old games. I'll be absolutely clear, the little fuckface is no good at Streets of Rage. He was utterly useless as backup.
Wow.
So basically I ended up doing it on myself. But he does really enjoy
Calling him
Sonic.
out.
Yeah, he'll learn. He'll get there. And so I played Sonic Generations and Sonic 2 and Sonic 1, and then I downloaded a load for my little Mega Drive Mini as well. I uploaded all of the Sonic ROMs I could find for that. Which tickled me because I managed to find a ROM, and I think I've messaged you guys about it, but I found a ROM for Sonic and Knuckles with Sonic 1, which I was always under the impression wasn't possible, and I'm sure I remember it not being possible back in the day because obviously Sonic and Knuckles was a double cartridge and you plug one in the top. And then the ROM, when you fire up the ROM, it just came up with the screen with Sonic like waving his finger, telling you that it's not possible, and that was the whole fucking ROM. I was like, you bastards!
Nice.
Trolled on a ROM site. So yeah, that was fun. Then I played Sonic Adventure with him because it was £1.50 on the store, and realised that it was the crap one. And it was Sonic Adventure 2 that was the good one. So that didn't get long on it. That was pants. I don't think I'll ever go back, even though every time he sees the icon for that Sonic, he wants to play it. So I'll probably just let him bash on it, to be fair. And I think that's me. Yeah. I started Firewatch tonight, and I'm on day 2.
I liked Firewatch.
It has been installed on both of my Xboxes upstairs and downstairs for months and months, and I've just never got around to playing it. And now I just thought, you know what? I've liked the walking sims and stuff I've been playing the last few days.
That's a one-sitting game
that
as well. I think I did that in one sitting.
Yeah.
And if I can do it in one sitting, you definitely can.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll be fine. I like it so far.
It's one.
I was trying to get a decent photo of those girls, but you can't get close enough.
There's a load of Firewatch is one of them, but there's a load of these walking simulators, and I think that one of the things I'm enjoying about them is they all have this kind of creepy air about them, but they're not horror games. But nothing's happening. And you feel like something should happen, and that the whole time, and you'll get this in Firewatch, like you walk through a cave, you're like, something's going to jump out at me. But nothing will. Because it's not the point of the game. Be like, I feel like something should be jumping out at me. And it puts you more on edge than if something actually jumped out at you. Fucking
yeah.
Because the longer it takes for it to jump out at you, the more on edge you are because it hasn't jumped out on you yet.
Exactly. I really enjoyed Firewatch. Really liked it.
Good news. And so I think that is everything that I've played. I've obviously spotted on other stuff. Excuse me. I finally played the DLC for the Fractured Bowl.
Okay.
The Casa Bonita DLC, because it went on sale.
On the Switch?
On the Switch, yeah. It was okay.
A fucking
really
rip-roaring review that was.
It was okay. Like, I don't know. The second game just wasn't as funny as the first one. The first one was crass, and it was rude, and it was dirty, and the enemies were hilarious. The second one they reined it in a little bit too much for my liking.
Yeah.
It felt a bit watered down. I mean, Michael Jackson does make an entrance in the DLC.
Wow.
And all the kids start calling him Corey Haim. because obviously they don't know who
Fucking
Michael
hell.
Jackson is. And that bit was quite funny, and he was super annoying as a boss as well. To be fair, I'm surprised I know who Corey Haim is. To be fair,
I don't think I know who that is, off the top of my head.
he's an actor.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no worries. Dickhead. So yeah, that's me, definitely. They think it's I get it. They think it's Corey Haim because basically the story's all about the vamps.
Yeah.
So that makes perfect sense. And that makes even more sense because one of the characters, Goat, turns into the Keith Sutherland's character. I can never remember the name of. He wears a yellow, Mr. Adams.
Yeah.
Who's you've played the second Fractured Butthole.
I've not finished it, no.
You maybe remember, but there was a guy in the police station that had a room full of clown pictures.
Oh, yeah.
It's him. He just starts dressing up as Keith Sutherland, pretending he's a vampire.
Oh, it's David.
I don't know what his name. What? Keith Sutherland's
Keith
character.
Sutherland's character is David.
Right, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have known that. It's been a long time since I've watched The Lost Boys.
Good film, that.
Very. So that's me. Apart from the one that we've played for John's January challenge, which we will discuss on John's posted podcast.
I'm going to have nothing to talk about otherwise, so let's talk about it.
Yeah. I'm guessing you could probably going to talk about Hitman 3.
I will try not to.
Well, I want to hear about it.
And I'll try and play something that's not Cyberpunk in the next 2 weeks at some point.
Well, I've got 2,500 more experience Microsoft points to potentially get, so that's a couple of games at least.
In how long you got left to do it?
Oh, I don't know when the challenge finishes. I'm sure it was the 16th or the 17th or 18th.
I thought it was the 16th, but
a few days.
I'm pretty sure it's like 10 Gs in 10 days.
Should at least make it a month. I mean, fucking 10 days is ridiculous.
Well, it's just complete one of those shit games in a day.
I know, but next time they have another one of these, I'm not going to have any shit games left to play. Well, small games left to play because I'll pissing play them all.
That's when it actually becomes a challenge.
Yeah, well, that's when I just go, you know what, fuck this shit. It's not worth it for a tenner. I mean, the last two have been fine because I've had a list of games that I've thought about playing but just never got around to.
Yeah.
So it's nice to sort of have that push and excuse to do it, but I don't think there's literally, I've got 2 or 3 of these little walking sims left that I've wanted to play, and that's pretty much it then. I've caught up with all those small indies.
Yeah. And then, because there's a very real line, isn't there, between short and easy for your 1000G. Because I've got plenty of easy ones, but they took a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well.
Cool.
Excellent stuff. I think that's us then, gents.
I think it
Excrement.
is.
So let's wrap up. So, Brooker, where can people find you if they want to find you?
On my sofa. I pretty much don't move from this exact spot where I am right now.
Where can people find you without violating lockdown restrictions?
Twitter.
Wait a couple of weeks and then do it.
Yeah. I am at Brooker411 on Twitter, and that's about it.
Cool. John?
I am the John_CU on Twitter and on Xbox Live. I'm Long Dong Silver. Yeah. Yay.
Excellent. And I am at Pyro Loveridge pretty much everywhere you can look. And if you want to find us as a group, we are Character Unlock on also most social media platforms. Thanks for listening. Say good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good one.
Jinx.